evening. You've got more than money. You've got Gene Dickinson, your host, your personal financial advisor, not your political commentator, your personal financial advisor. Happy to be serving you this evening. Happy for all of you who are happy to have the election cycle over, no matter what the results were. If they were joyous for you, unhappy for you, it's over. And so our mails should return to something less than an inch thick of flyers. Our emails, our texts should be a lot cleaner, a lot more personal than we have experienced in this cycle. And goodness, we pray for our entire country. We pray that everyone benefits as we move forward. Everyone enjoys the very best that America has to offer. We're a blessed nation. We are blessed to live here, and goodness, anything that can benefit all of us, we're anxious to have brought to the fore. So welcome to More Than Money. If you're a loyal viewer, then you knew I'd have something to say about the election cycle and a couple other things along the way. If you're just joining us for the first time, we lay claim to being the most relevant financial show on television, no matter where you may look. It can be coast to coast, it can be border to border. It doesn't matter the size of the station. Our show is the most relevant, not because of my inherent skills, which are formidable, I must admit, but because of you. You set the agenda, you set the tone, you send us your emails with your questions, your observations, and we share those with our audience. That, goodness, these days, coast to coast and border to border applies there as well. So many of our PBS systems picking us up. It's fantastic, and we're hopeful and honored to be able to serve as many of you as we possibly can. So if you have a question about, your retirement, Social Security, Medicare, about income taxes, how to pay the least and not go to prison, that's a very good litmus test right there. Investments, how to make sure that everything is done exactly as it should be, how to bring all those accounts together and have the result be exactly what you want. It could be estate planning, wills, trusts, executors, executrixes. The topics are varied. What's fascinating about the questions that you typically send to us is that you bring all that together, because it's rare that an individual circumstance has challenges that are in one particular small slice of the financial world. It's very common that it bleeds over into many different areas. So we are happy to serve you. You send us your emails to Gene, G-E-N-E, at AskMTM.com, G-E-N-E at AskMTM.com. We answer every single question back to you. Even the hard ones, even the ones we have to do research on. You test us on occasion, but then we take a selection of those and we bring those to you. Typically, we bring those to you through our financial correspondent, Megan Smale. Megan is on assignment for this week and next and will not be with us, but goodness, we're trusting that Gene, with all of his 780 years of experience, will be able to read questions and answer questions all by himself. I guess we're going to find out here shortly. So if you have questions for us, send those along. If you are simply, I think I'm going to try to learn a few things tonight, pad and pencil, not a bad idea at all, as you might want to take notes. So let's give you a demo of exactly how this works on More Than Money. Our first question with the headline of AI, remote or digital or real life advisor. This is fascinating. A listener, an audience member, sent us this descriptor, disclaimer in some ways, from a company that was soliciting them to become a client. And it says that this company is revolutionizing retirement planning by offering a comprehensive range of services, including income planning, investment management, tax planning, healthcare advice, and estate planning, all with a greater degree of effectiveness compared to traditional providers. As a fully digital firm, they prioritize efficiency and convenience, providing remote consultation and digital account opening. Unlike traditional firms, this particular company focuses on delivering extensive services without the need for in-person meetings, allowing clients to enjoy their retirement while their financial needs are expertly managed. This company then enhances and embraces a new era in retirement planning. Fascinating. Fascinating indeed. So their claim to fame is twofold. Number one, that they do all these services and other firms do not. And number two, that they do it without ever actually having to meet with you face to face, without you ever having to leave the comfort of your home or the confines of your office. These are two rather interesting claims. We will address both of those. Let's take the first one, the easiest one first. The easiest one is that they lay claim to offering comprehensive ranges of services covering all those, you heard the list, all with a greater degree of efficiency and effectiveness. My apologies, effectiveness compared to individual and traditional providers. That is what's the proper term? I studied this, yes. It's called a steaming pile of hoo-ha. It's simply incorrect. The claim that this particular firm, among the thousands of firms, and there are literally thousands of firms, some would say tens of thousands, let's just use 10,000 as an example, that they are the only firm offering comprehensive services, income tax planning, investment planning, healthcare, estate planning. It simply is false. There are hundreds that do it. And they're claiming a higher degree of effectiveness. I would suggest that that is also likely incorrect, just based on the need, in order for a plan to be effective, to have exceptional levels of communication and understanding between the advisor and the client. And I don't believe, not for 1/10, 1/100th of a percent, that these folks are doing this in a more effective way. Now, the second proposition that they are offering is this: we never have to meet face to face. We do everything remotely. We do everything by phone, by Zoom, by digital. You never need to leave your home or your office, and that in itself should make you wish to work with them. And my question is, does that sound right to you? Would that be your preference? I think that the answer is, it depends. I think there are folks who are, goodness, what's the right word for folks who are afraid of crowds? Agoraphobic? Folks who are not comfortable being out and about. This is fantastic. What's interesting, of course, is that every financial advisory firm of any caliber at all, of any size, of any scope, of any effectiveness, can offer exactly the same thing. For a financial advisory firm, and I know many of them, of course, many of them watch our show and take notes and then send me an email thanking me. Hey, that was a great idea. I used it for my clients. That's wonderful. That's fantastic. So many of them prefer, as we do, to meet with our clients in person, at least initially. We have clients in 17 states, so it's not always in person. But offering the opportunity to have those conversations by Zoom, face-to-face, but not in person, by phone, these are all typically offered by, if I'm guessing, and my guesses are, they're pretty darn good. I know the field real well. If I'm guessing, 90% of the top quality firms could easily accommodate folks who would like to be remote and digital. Very easily done. So this gives them no real advantage. My question, though, is for you. What would you prefer? And if you prefer purely digital, this could certainly work, but it would work with almost any quality firm that you might choose. And if you prefer the opportunity to be in person, that works with the vast majority, probably 95% plus of the firms that are out there. And then if you want the ultimate in flexibility, hybrid, if you will, virtually all the top firms are hybrid. You can do it in person, you can do it remotely, and you can mix and match, which is, to be blunt, most of our More Than Money clients, that's what they do. They mix and match. They're in person when they can, particularly if they're snowbirds or they're further afield, or if weather just turns against them, they can do it remotely as well. Fascinating in the claims that are being made and the realities which are a little different than the claims. Shall we shift gears just a bit? I think so. This topic, bad advice, but why? The young lady writes, when my dad passed away, he left his IRA to us kids. It was split three ways, $270,000, not a small number, to each of us. Dad's advisor, who I had never heard of until he died, now is in charge of my IRA, at least for the moment. I've talked to her once and asked her about my options. I am certain, so is my sister, that she said the account had to stay with her for 10 years. Is that true? Neither of us likes this woman very much. That's pretty blunt. My brother doesn't much care and is fine with leaving his money with her. What can we do? Quite a bit. Quite a bit. I am prayerful, hopeful, more prayerful, that this is a misunderstanding. While it is true that if you've inherited an IRA, you have a 10-year rule, we'll circle back to that, that governs how that IRA, that inherited IRA functions, it is certainly not the case that it must stay with that advisor. Now, let's assume you sound very reasonable, your email's well written and concise and to the point. Let's assume for the moment that you heard it exactly right and that your sister heard it exactly right and this young lady advisor has said to you, it has to stay with me. That's really bad advice. That's really bad advice because it's not true. And if she's telling you something that's not true about something that's so easily confirmed to be a fib, fibber, pants on fire. If that's the way she starts her relationship with you, you've got to leave. You have got to move that account. You have got to go to another advisor that you can trust because this person is untrustworthy, if that is indeed what she has said. Now, is there another option? Is it always that she's a bad human being and she's lied? Maybe not. Maybe she's ignorant. Maybe she just doesn't know. Maybe she is not well trained. Maybe she doesn't understand tax law. There's a lot of things, none of which are good. None of which are good. There are so many wonderful advisors, smart advisors, experienced advisors, extremely trustworthy advisors. There is simply never a reason to stay with an advisor that is not trustworthy, or is not well trained, or is ignorant, or doesn't give you good advice. There's just no reason to stay. You have so many options that you can take advantage of. There's no reason to stay. Now, I mentioned we'd circle back. Inherited IRAs have, since 2020, now 4 years in, become such a mess. It's not a terribly sophisticated word, but the IRS has made this into quite the mess. The original rules were issued, hey, you've got to take it out before the end of 10 years. Everybody said, okay. For the most part, I'll just leave it grow for 10 years and take it out on the last day. Then the IRS a year or two later said, no, that's not what we meant. What we meant is you've got to take some out every year for 10 years. And everybody went, okay, how much? And they went, oh, yeah, we forgot that part. So about a year later, they went, hey, so the rules have changed so often that the requirement that you take money out year by year has been waived. I'm going by memory, but I think all 4 years that it's been in existence. So this year, as we are recording the show, the year 2024, you do not have to take any money out of an inherited IRA that you received after 2020. You don't have to. But the rule is still in effect. So theoretically, if you inherited this IRA in 2020, you have not taken anything out. You haven't had to. You haven't been required to for 4 years. But you now only have 6 years left. You don't. The 10-year doesn't start over. So there is a 10-year rule. There's no question about that. How you handle the money during that 10 years is there are tons of options. It's got to be customized to fit you. For some folks, give me an example. Hey, I've got 2 kids in college. I'm spending a bucket of money, and it's really, really stressing us out. If you have an inherited IRA, that's the perfect time to take as much money out as you possibly can to satisfy those college needs and take the financial stress off of you. So for folks who say, hey, you just push it off forever, maybe not. Maybe now is exactly the right time. For those of you that are fearful that tax rates will go up, taking money out early makes sense because now you know what the tax rate is. Let's say you're in the 22% bracket, you take it out at 22. You're fearful in 5 years it's going to be 42. Take it out now. Pay the tax. Get it out of that system as early as you can. For those of you that are of the opposite opinion, hey, I don't need the money right now. Hey, it's not, I don't think taxes are going to go up dramatically. I don't think the rates are going to really hurt me. Then taking it out either later or year by year makes excellent sense. By the way, one other strategy. This is totally unrelated to this question because I think we've kind of explored her options a bit, and we already know that the current advisor out and a new advisor that can give her good counsel based on her needs specifically. Here's a strategy that many of our viewers have used to great advantage. Taking the money out of the inherited IRA means it has to be taxed. It is taxed. You have to pay tax on it. And if you're in a relatively high bracket, 22, et cetera, you're going, this is painful. This is no fun at all. For some folks who are active and contributing to a 401k plan at their employer, they might be able to shift a portion or all of an inherited IRA into their 401k. And you go, whoa, 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 that's not allowed. Not directly, that is true. You're not allowed to convert from an inherited IRA into a 401k. But if, for example, you're 50 years old, your contribution limit is $30,000 a year, you've been contributing $10,000 a year. That extra $20,000 could come from the distribution from your inherited IRA. Paint simple numbers. There's $200,000 in the inherited IRA. You're putting $10,000 in. You could add another $20,000. If you took $20,000 out year by year over this 10-year window, all of the money would come out of the inherited IRA virtually, bits and pieces. All the money comes out. You make the contribution through your payroll deduction into your 401k. You get taxed on the money coming out of the inherited IRA. You get a tax deduction, if you choose, a tax deduction for the money going into your 401k. All of a sudden, you have converted a taxable inherited IRA into a tax-deferred 401k. Just for fun. These are great ideas. Speaking of great ideas, where do we turn next? Some financial advisors stink. Who made it this? We have a trend. My financial advisor invested my rollover 401k into some funds, and one of them has a 10-year double guarantee return. Now, let me stop you there. This is undoubtedly an annuity. These were very popular a number of years back, and indeed, that's exactly what they said. You put in, say, $100,000. You invest it in their investments, and it goes up and down, up and down, up and down. But if it gets to 10 years and it's not yet $200,000, they will, it's called grossing it up. They will gross up the account value to $200,000. So you're guaranteed that your money will double. Double over 10 years is a little over a 7%, 7.25% return. Not outrageously high, not dismal by any stretch. So very acceptable. But in some cases, the investments don't do well. The emailer goes on to say, this means if I keep the investment 10 years, it's guaranteed to double. Last year was 10 years, and it did not. I've contacted the advisor twice now and discussed it with him. He promised he would contact those higher up than he and get back to me, and it's been about 3 months now, and I don't have any concrete answers. Last time he said he was still waiting to hear back from the higher ups. How long do I let this go before I get someone else involved? Who should I contact to help me? Do I need to hire an attorney? Some advisors stink. And I have said so many times on this show, we're a national show, there are say 10,000 firms out there, tens of thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of advisors. The vast majority of them are outstanding, well-trained, well-meaning. They put their clients first. They're fiduciaries. They're doing a great job. On occasion, though, financial advisor not doing his or her job, in this case, his job. It's this scenario suggests to me that this financial advisor, air quotes, is an insurance salesman. It suggests to me that he is an insurance salesman who sells annuities, that's what this product undoubtedly is, and is thereby licensed as a life and health insurance salesman. The treatment of that interaction will be very different than if we find out that he is a financial advisor, at least in name, by being a registered investment advisor, a Series 7 licensed advisor, something that actually suggests that he is being regulated by the SEC, by the FINRA, the Financial Industry Regulatory Authority, or within his state, being regulated by, well, in the state of Pennsylvania, it's called the Department of Banking and Securities. Every state has a division of their regulatory bodies that oversee financial advisors. If he is an insurance salesman, you're going to do two things, and they don't involve getting anyone else involved yet. First is that you're going to write a letter to this gentleman copying his supervisor and saying, documenting this is what I was told. I've been incredibly patient, 3 months. I've asked twice. I keep getting stonewalled. This is unacceptable. You'll give them 3 days, and you'll say in your letter, I gave you 3 days to respond and get this fixed. And at the end of the third day, likely you won't get a satisfactory response. You send a letter to the insurance commissioner in your state. They are empowered. They are mandated to supervise, regulate, investigate these kinds of conflicts. And I am prayerful, again, hopeful, prayerful, that this is a misunderstanding and that you're going to find out your money is exactly as it should be. But my fear is it is not. My fear is that you were told one thing, but the contract says something very different. My fear is they would not be stonewalling you if they had a positive answer. These are all my fears. I'm probably correct. So bottom line is that once you get the insurance commissioner involved, depending on your age, you might also want to get some of the consumer protection agencies involved. And you can do all this without hiring an attorney. You can do all this on your own. And in many cases, these agencies are rightfully indignant on your behalf. And you can save yourself a lot of potentially legal fees by having them represent you. So make sure as you're going through this that you exhaust all of the public opportunities, all the public resources that you have to represent you. If, on the other hand, this individual is a licensed or registered investment advisor, this gets much more interesting, because in that world, a written complaint to the advisor, certainly copied to the supervisor, stops everything cold. And financial advisors with a history of written complaints end up losing their jobs. Companies that ignore consumer complaints end up being fined not thousands, not hundreds of thousands, millions, and in some cases tens of millions of dollars. There isn't a reasonable company around, none, that would not sacrifice a salesman or an advisor in the best interest of the company to keep their regulatory record as clean as humanly possible. When there are enough consumer complaints against the company, the regulators get very unhappy. And a fair number of these kinds of advisory firms have gone out of business based on the fact that they did not respond and protect their clients as they are intended to. So if your advisor is indeed an advisor, you have much more power than you already know. A written complaint, phone calls mean nothing. They will deny you ever called. Phone calls mean nothing. Emails mean a little bit more, but a written complaint, particularly registered mail, That gets everybody's attention. Bless you. Quick one. What financial advisor will help a 17-year-old? I'm interested in getting my 17-year-old son in front of someone who can help him plan for investing for his future. He's a hard worker, working 2 jobs. He still has 1 more year in high school. He started on a co-op last year as an electrician, making really good money, and worked full-time over the summer. Will be back on co-op after school starts, and then back to full-time work. What financial advisor will assist a 17-year-old with modest means? Sadly, there's a fair number that will not. There's a fair number, many of which advertise nonstop on radio and TV about you need $500,000 to invest to get their services. You need $1 million to invest. There's a lot of snotty companies out there that are like that. Far better. They're far too good for us. A quality financial advisory firm, particularly local, will gladly counsel a 17-year-old. Gladly. It's like the farmer planting seeds. You start with a young man who clearly has a bright future, and you give them, in essence, pro bono. You won't make any money. They don't make any money. The advisor doesn't make any money. But they build a relationship with a young man who's quality, working hard, going to school, doing all the right stuff, needs to be rewarded. He's a quality individual. There are tons of financial advisors. Certainly, more than money advisors would do that in a heartbeat. There are tons of financial advisors that would do exactly that in a heartbeat. So, a couple phone calls, you're going to do just fine. Speaking of just fine, in the absence of our financial correspondent, Megan, who is on assignment, I think we did just fine. I think Jean read reasonably well, and the questions were fantastic. You guys are amazing. So if you are so inclined and would like potentially to see your question asked and answered on a future show, send those to me, Gene@askmtm.com, Gene at askmtm.com. We're very, very happy to help. We have an entire team of financial advisors. I can't do this all by myself. True success is never done all by yourself. And I have the best team available, and they're available to you for the asking. And so if you've learned a few things along the way this evening, picked up a couple ideas, maybe you want to take advantage of that opportunity. And at the very least, we invite you to have the opportunity to return next week for another edition of More Than Money.